America's home for football.
I knew we was going to beat them clowns.
Bullseye!
Let's go. Let's go, everybody. Let's go. Good morning.
Oh, my God! Ah! High fives for everybody.
Shall we begin?
Becomes noon to 3, and we have some perch positivity and prattle today. Boys, we have come home to the exclusive Vikings Radio Network perch, overlooking 4 perfectly manicured practice fields with our purple and gold Warriors trickling out for the morning walkthrough. Now, we have 4 perfectly manicured practice fields. One, mysteriously and suspiciously, is sans lines. Because there were lines on this field right in front of us, Nordo, when I was here Saturday for the walkthrough, and you were here for Saturdays with Sauce and Robbie and yours truly. I don't exactly know what they're doing with what used to be the Mike Hughes Memorial Field, and then it became kind of the Andre Carter honorary field, but the undrafted rookie linebacker from Army's out there working out. At least he was on Saturday. And
maybe that's the key.
Maybe. What do you mean?
Well, the NFL, as much as they are about decadence, they're also about efficiency. And as Andre Carter has now returned to practice, and some other players might be nicked up, but at this stage, sans, unfortunately, for Mr. Lynch over the weekend, there are no serious injuries that require that.
Yeah.
So maybe now this could be a seating area. We got family and friends in attendance during camp practice. Maybe this is a play area for the tots. They don't need the Mike Hughes Memorial Practice Field at this point.
Understood. And for 9 to noon, which is noon to 3 today, and thank you, Tenna B. The Tenna Fitz filling in for Dan Cole, the common man, was gracious enough to do a fan flip, a low-key fan flip. It's not station-wide. It was just the program and the Love Covenant flipping, so we could come home and be on the exclusive Vikings Radio Network perch for walkthrough, which unveils a lot of tells for a lot of things. And what I mean is like, I'll come out here Saturdays for walkthrough because there's basically outside of the KFAN radio show, there's nobody here. So you can see on one field the players and to a certain extent the plays they're going to use Thursday in their first preseason game against Seattle. Then on the field, which would be closest to us to the right, that's where the ones and the key twos, I believe we're working on plays and formations and scenarios for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers season opener. So the walkthrough serves many purposes, and those would be a couple of them. But they also get the squads ready for practice, which begins, I think, 2:15, 2:30 today. And given we're noon to 3, we'll get the early stages of practice. Bumper to bumper out here today.
Bumper to bumper is out here.
Sweet. So then they'll be here for the totality of the practice, and it's just great to be back, man. I mean, it feels like being home. It doesn't feel like Patrick Mahomes Airbnb by the facility. It's not that glitzy. Like we don't have Olympic pools or Olympic-sized pools or anything that we can dive into on these super hot days. But we are just happy to be here so we can do a checkup on the abode. I mean, this truly is our radio home away from home. I mean, this place, the perch, the exclusive Vikings Radio Network perch, just looking around the perch, given this is the first radio show we together have done during the training camp run. To my right, I found some teas, undoubtedly left behind by Dan Cole, the common man. There's an empty soda cup and some wrappers blowing about, which means Robbie Rosenhaus was here. And I just found a copy of William Faulkner's The Sound and the Fury. undoubtedly left behind by Dan Barrero. I mean, we haven't been here in a while, and what we will see today it'll unfurl some reality for what's coming on Thursday.
Yeah, it will. And the power trip was here too. They were in the radio studio, and they got to feel what you and I have felt, the isolation and the loneliness. You know, I hearken back to that time during COVID in which you actually had to stream from your house. Now, you weren't completely isolated. You had Jimmy Coldcuts in the background. You had cats and dogs and everything roaming about the Allen household while you were dealing with the bug. But you felt lonely, and you were isolated. So we had to set up video so that we could see each other because we missed each other while you were gone. And that's what we have felt each and every time we have to do a show down in the studio. We know that things are going to happen out here.
Yeah.
And we don't get to see it.
But it's just great being here.
And it's so good to be on site on premises, and I've gotten to do it a couple of Saturdays, but not during 9 to noon. So the ability to be out here today, man, and like you said, we're just trying to find breadcrumbs. We're trying to find clues, and this walkthrough will provide some of that. Practice will provide even more. We're going to get to see Rubes in the stands, and it's an absolutely gorgeous day out here. I haven't even gotten any text messages from Abbott about the wind yet. Now, that's subject to change. It's early on in the show. But it is absolutely perfect and gorgeous. Serene, indeed.
Speaking of the word wind, it would be nice if when we start playing games in the regular season, the Vikings win so many games again, much like last year, that other teams are chasing the wind. That they're chasing the wind, and it's something that they can't grab and something they can't catch. That will be for September 10th when they debut against what could be Kyle Trask and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Not to turn this into Buccaneers fan line, and I'm Gene Deckeroff, joined by Ali Marpet.
Go Bucs, go Knowles.
But I mean, we're on a constant search for nuggets. I mean, we have to have nuggets. You got to have nuggets to win in the radio game these days, from what I understand. Here's a nugget for you: the Mayfield and Trask are splitting reps in practice, and that's new, because that was not the case a couple of weeks ago. Baker had 2 really rough practices last week, from what I understand.
Yep. And
in an absolute, at least for me, parimutuel puzzler, when he was asked about it, there was culpability. And
No way.
And he brought it back to himself, saying, I need to improve on this, that, and the other.
He took responsibility?
And I think he low-key understood why he is splitting reps with Kyle Trask. Or perhaps Todd Bowles is just next level. Perhaps he's already setting up the long play, the long con, the ruse for the season opener, making defensive coordinators get ready for 2 quarterbacks. Hey.
Yeah, Flores is certainly losing sleep right now, figuring out, trying, should I prepare for Trask or should I prepare for Baker Mayfield? I read an article on it. I wasn't listening to Pat Kerwin that day. So in terms of, he went through a stretch PA, I think, last week where I think over a 7-day period he threw 10 or 12 interceptions. Baker did.
Yeah, Baker
practices.
Baker was diseased last week.
He's been an absolute disaster, at least over the last week. So he's got a chance to improve preseason games. I would actually assume he still gets the ball in their first preseason game whenever that happens.
Yeah.
But Baker, the career that he has had is so interesting. And you mentioned culpability. When I played some audio for you last week, he basically says that his career in Cleveland ended because of an injury when it did not.
Yeah.
He goes in, I forget who they were playing in primetime, but he basically gets off the plane, starts for McVay's Rams, and he has that comeback victory.
Yeah, Thursday Night Football or something?
Something like that, yeah. It was last December.
Yep.
And he has those moments in him. But there's so much mediocrity. There are so many mistakes and inadequacies that he brings to the game throughout the rest of it that he's constantly taking a step forward and 2 steps back. So I still, again, because I know he's got some miraculous in him, I'm not just looking beyond week 1, but I'm also simultaneously not surprised at all that there's some trouble down in Tampa.
Now, Thursday, 9 o'clock, KFAN. That'll be the first preseason game. It's a simulcast.
Why do they do that to us with the 9 p.m. start?
I mean, you got West Coast time. I mean, I guess they could start. I think there's a Mariners game that night, too. So that means that little part of town's going to be a little clippy. But nevertheless, 9 o'clock KFAN, first preseason game, yours truly, Pete Bursage and Ben Lieber, and mentally preparing for Mullins, Prohl, touchdown.
Ooh.
Mullins, Prohl, touchdown. Mullins, Mogg, touchdown. Mogg being a wide receiver who played for the University of North Dakota last year. So that's kind of what I think is coming for Thursday. I was just chatting with some media relations members about some players that would draw excitement in watching and or listening to the game Thursday. Ricky Prohl's kid, Blake, I'm quite fond of him. Any positivity that comes the way of Blake is nothing but good in my world. I'm looking forward to seeing Jaron Hall. I'm not sure how much he's going to play because I'm starting to get the feeling that some things are changing a little bit. And it's not like Kevin O'Connell, a limb on the Sean McVay tree. It's not like he's going to do exactly what Sean does. But McVay has come out and said, I'm not treating preseason the way I have recently because this is a different team. So that doesn't mean Cooper Kupp, who has a hammy anyway, but like Aaron Donald or Matthew Stafford will play. But I think he's going to play more of his ones and his key twos than he's played recently. And in having some conversations here and being here for the Saturday walkthrough and the field, when you guys were doing the radio show, the one immediately to the right, those are the key ones and twos. And, then the one where I was standing by the workout room, those are generally the players that will emerge in the Seattle game. And they're just like I saw Josh Oliver watching some of those plays. I saw Johnny Munt watching some of those plays. I saw Lewis Seen running around in a lot of those plays. Didn't see any Jordan Addison. And if Jordan Addison does not play Thursday night...
Well, I saw him. He was with the ones and twos over here.
Thank you. That would be good news for Vikings fans because that means that he has improved or won the favor and hearts enough of the right people to not play in that game. So it in essence is a reward to not play in that in game like first preseason game these days, especially given a week and change from now. We have the Tennessee Titans here for a couple of rough and tumble joint practices. So it could. I'm just feeling Mullins for a fair amount. Jaron Hall to finish it out. Then when you come home, maybe Mullins less, Jaron Hall a little more, and with Jaron, even with it being preseason, he's going to see things and feel things that he's never felt. And even at that speed against those types of players, because I don't think Pete Carroll's going to play any of his ones, I would be looking for Jaron Hall to display poise, get in and out of the huddle efficiently, so make sure it doesn't have the feel of a rodeo, and then on to the next challenge,
No, I like that. I think, Jaron Hall is important to talk about at this stage, not necessarily just because of his development, but I think the keeping three quarterbacks conversation is actually more prescient and important as we put together the 53 at some point.
Yeah.
I also think, similar to McVay, it's not about copying McVay if you're Kevin O'Connell. Mm-hmm. I also just look at it at a base level. This team has a hell of a lot more questions, some new faces that require in-game reps in the preseason, maybe more so than last year. And so for a lot of guys, you mentioned the ones and twos, those joint practices are going to be enough. That will be the most physical element of their preseason. JJ, guys like that certainly don't need to prove themselves.
Yeah.
But that running back conversation, maybe there's you mentioned Lewis Seen, the safety-related conversation, defensive backfield in general, actually. There's a linebacker here who might be undersized, but is suddenly the belle of the ball. How does he look like with pads on against another team?
Yes, sir.
Under the bright lights. So it can't just be as simple as, that guy's locked in. He's gonna sit out the preseason. A lot more of these opportunities are up for grabs. The land of opportunity, as we've talked about with this final 53.
9 to noon is noon to 3 today. It's Paul Allen with Eric Nordquist, Nordo Mad producer, from the exclusive Vikings Radio Network perch, overlooking walkthrough. All the members of the Minnesota Vikings are out now. They're going through practice and stuff like that. And we thank Brett Blakemore for guiding the great ship Love Covenant from noon until 3. Wide receiver KJ Osborne joins us about 40 minutes from now. And 9 to noon will return very shortly with Vikes Bites. on your home for Minnesota Vikings football, FM 100.3 KFAN.
You can experience college football at U.S. Bank Stadium this fall when you see North Dakota State take on Eastern Washington Saturday, September 2nd. Head over to the KFAN contest page. Enter for your chance to win a pair of Delta Club tickets. KFAN.com. Keyword contest.
Back to 9 to noon here at Vikings Training Camp, Twin Cities Orthopedics Performance Center in Eagan.
Yeah.
And it is indeed time for Vikes Bites, presented by Stoked Barbecue Pellets. StokedBBQ.com, Caledonia, Minnesota's finest all-white oak premium pellets. And you can find out at many places, myriad places to get these things. I love them. You will too. StokedBBQ.com.
Hold on. 84. Are you kidding me with that?
Yeah, he's massive.
It's unbelievable watching Josh Oliver do things. You know, given he's so new, it's like, well, like I said, just because Sean McVay is deciding he's going to play more noteworthy players in preseason games doesn't exactly mean O'Connell's going to follow that suit.
Right.
But you know, Josh Oliver is so new, and some of these plays are so complex that I know you're going to bring it up later when it comes to like balancing the who, what, where, when, and why with playing in the preseason.
Yeah.
I'm a little torn on the Oliver situation right now because he's such an important part of several things with the offense. But I mean, it can't possibly be rote with him at this stage, you know. So I don't know, man. Maybe a little 84 on Thursday night.
I'm with you, and that's what I do want to get into is because you can get clues from this. Mm-hmm. What we're seeing right now on this field, clues and little takes and breadcrumbs.
So that's your starting offensive line against Tennessee. The what you would expect: Darisaw, Cleveland, Bradbury, Oliver, and Brian O'Neill.
Ingram,
thank you. And now you see KJ Osborne, who joins us about 30 minutes from now, inside Jordan Addison with JJ sole alone to the left. So there's a play action to Madison. And what I would guess happened there is KJ ran a route that's designed to clear out something.
And let Addison get loose.
Number 3 trickling in the middle. And there he goes.
Wide open over the middle.
3 wide open, and there he goes. Ooh.
That's a fresh 4 for the Minnesota Vikings offense. What is not fresh right now, over the weekend, James Lynch tears his ACL, PA.
Yeah.
And a lot of competition, a lot of spots. Andre Carter, now not playing the exact same position, but along that defensive front. He just comes back to practice. Mm-hmm. But I've heard a lot of different opinions on James Lynch at this stage of his career and tenure with the Vikings in terms of is he absolutely a member of the 53 and how much it plays into the depth. I mean, first and foremost, sucks that he tore his ACL. We hope he gets better as soon as possible. But any vibe in terms of how that actually affects or maybe doesn't impact as much the depth of the defensive line, PA?
Well, Lynch, most likely, I'd put it 85% or higher, was going to make the team. So now, you can see on the far field, what's up, G? By the weight room, well, that's the first defense. They're going through some form of some type of drill. So this isn't really like running plays for Tampa Bay, but there's Marcus Davenport, Patrick Jones, Harrison Phillips. You got Theo Jackson, a safety who I think plays a lot Thursday night. He's mugging the A-gap with Josh Metellus. Then Troy Reeder behind them with Troy Dye. Daniil, left edge, hand in the grass. So 3-4 hybrid with floaters. That's perfect. What a perfect situation. It started as a 3-4. Then the metaphorical offense did something. Daniil left the stand-up, became a left defensive end, hand in the grass, and then the safeties came up and threatened the A-gap.
Yeah, look at how close they've had on whatever play they're practicing, how close pre-snap that Josh Metellus is to the line.
Yep.
And he rushes. Oh, this is...
or he threatens rushing.
Yeah, there you go.
And see, that's just, it's not like it's the first time in the history of the NFL that's been done. But with James Lynch, that if you believe they are going to rotate a lot of defensive linemen, and I believe they're going to do that, probably more than we've seen via rotation in quite some time. Lynch was part of that. And so now, that's going to give somebody an opportunity to, maybe Jaquelin Roy has more position flexibility, than we know. And instead of being a 3 technique or a beef-eating nose tackle, maybe they'll utilize him in some ways to play a little defensive end. But it's a bad break for James. Very key season for James. Quite honestly, his rookie year out of Baylor, some of his stats that he had like 26 tackles for loss in his final year at Baylor. And, they drafted him, and then I just didn't, really exactly know what he did well. Then he got better the next year, and this was a year James had a chance to make himself some money. Sadly, injury has robbed him of that. What up, G?
Last thing for you,
Welcome to
Vikes
join.
Bites. Vikes Bites presented by Stoked Barbecue Pellets.
Yeah.
TJ Hawkinson. Very conspicuously kind of suited up and then sat out, PA. Now, some are speculating fifth-year option, wants a new deal, any of that stuff. But from your standpoint at this stage of camp, any reason to worry if we see 87 appearing to be healthy and not in the mix?
All right, 3-2. What's up, Gabe?
What up, P?
Gabe Henderson, Vikings Entertainment Network, Vikings.com. TJ Hawkinson's lot in life. It's every time I've been out here watching practice, for Josh Metellus, now TJ's good. I've seen Josh trailing TJ on a fair amount of plays, and TJ is widely considered one of the better route-running tight ends in the NFL. So, I think all is good in the neighborhood that is TJ, and good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Yeah, things are, hopefully trending upward for TJ, but with TJ not practicing right now, and that's much-needed reps for Josh Oliver. Josh Oliver, a guy who came from Baltimore last year, really didn't get those reps. So we know him as a blocking tight end.
I might have missed something to Nordo's point. Any idea why he's not practicing?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I have no idea.
Right.
I saw him working out in the weight room during practice the other day, so I'm not sure what that meant.
And that's why there was speculation, PA. He's sitting there. There were pictures of him. He's suited up.
Yeah.
He just wasn't doing anything.
Right.
And now, if you guys have seen him and I haven't, I don't see him out there even now for walkthrough.
Yep.
There he is, chilling out, hanging around.
Yeah, by Nick Muse.
So he's not on any memorial practice fields.
Yeah.
And there was some speculation over the weekend. I hope everything's good with TJ and, all signs pointing forward.
Gabe Henderson has joined us, and when we return, we'll talk more Vikings football, get you set up for that preseason game on Thursday, and pave the way for the Cane, KJ Osborne, to join immediately following walkthrough. We are at the exclusive Vikings Radio Network perch overlooking the perfectly manicured practice fields, and the Life Changers right in front of us, and we are here to chronicle it on FM 100.3. Fan the flames, we have the mangy.
To the red, white, and navy blue.
Let's go, Liberty. It's great to be back with you, by the way, Gabe, on the perch. Seattle, by the way, is our last road trip for more than a month.
Wow.
We play at Seattle. We leave Wednesday, play Thursday, and the next road trip we have, Nordo will be with us at Lincoln Financial for Thursday night football against your Philadelphia Eagles. So that ain't bad.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. The fact that it's been 205 days since the last time we've been in a booth together. Time has really been flying by.
Did you look that up or just know that?
I looked it up about 2 days ago. I was like, how many days is between the day that we traveled to Seattle and the last game that we played against the New York Giants? And so today makes 205. No, 208. So today makes 205. I mean, anybody that's out there really doing math. So I'm excited just to be able to see football again. Lumen Field. Is it still Lumen Field or is it CenturyLink?
No, it's Lumen.
Lumen Field. That's one of the only stadiums I have not been to.
Yeah, you'll like it. What if Lewis Seen plays a majority of or a lot of the first preseason game?
Yep.
What do you think of that?
I like that a lot. Just understanding he only played in 4 games last year, no starts. You really want to know if he has his feeding under him. You really want to know how has he recovered from injury. So I believe he does need to play a full game in order to get back into the groove of things. I like that idea.
We want to wish a happy birthday to Mark Vandelinati, Mark Vandelinati, I've just been told, is a Love Covenant dweller and a fan follower. So happy birthday, Mark Vandelinati, from your 9 to noon team, which is noon to 3 today, from the exclusive Vikings Radio Network perch overlooking walkthrough. And, I explained this a little earlier, is on one field you'll have the Cats who are getting ready for Seattle. That's the far field. And then closest to us, the first offense and some key backups, assumedly getting plays ready for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's at least what I saw Saturday during the walkthrough. That's what I would guess. Do you think it looks that way?
Yeah, they are slowly gearing towards September 10th, and usually a lot of teams do that, especially when you look at Sean McVay and the Rams. When Kevin O'Connell was there, they were already gearing up for week 1 of the season because they knew the starters weren't going to play in the preseason. So I'm not sure who plays defensively and offensively all 3 games. But, yeah, when you got your starters out there and you're getting those mental reps, why prepare against your own team? Start preparing against what you're going to see in a few weeks here with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Being back home here on the perch is fantastic. Being in the yoke of these football players and this team, walking up to a preseason game is super cool. We also are edging closer to the Friday Football Feast, the weekly pep fest that is 9 to noon at Buffalo Wild Wings all throughout Minnesota and the upper Midwest. You ready for those Friday Football Feasts because they love you?
Yeah, I love it. I think I told you the first time that I went to a Friday Football Feast, it was my first time being in the presence of fans because when I got here in 2020, it was empty. You could literally hear a pin drop in the stadium. So my first experience with fans was at the Friday Football Feast, and I fell in love with it since. So I'm looking forward to joining you this year, especially week 1.
At this stage of training camp, what do you like that you are seeing? Like, what consistently do you see and you're like, all right, that fits. All right, 3-2.
3-2.
Me too.
Ty Chandler.
Yeah, and you know what? My bad, because it's like I knew Ty had a little breakaway to him from the preseason last year, but now getting ready for the Seattle preseason game and deep diving him again, like last preseason, I had forgotten he was a 4-3 guy at the Combine.
Yep.
I mean, so see, he has some lickety-split to him. I got Dwayne McBride all carded up for the preseason game Thursday. I watched now McBride, he's not as fast as like Juan Wu or Ty Chandler. His lower body strength is
balance.
His balance and his lower body strength are like his calling cards.
Yep.
Dwayne at UAB, it's like 465 carries, yet 3,200 yards. So he's like 6.5 on the yards per run. But over the course of 3-4 years or whatever it was, that's not a ton of carries, and that's actually good news for him because that means not a lot of wear and tear on his body. Now, he fumbled 5 times last year, and he spins a lot.
Yep.
Like when I watched his highlights this weekend, he just naturally likes to spin away from things. And, you would know this better than us because you played D1 college football. Well, correct me if I'm wrong here. When you go to spinning, well, that makes the ball more vulnerable.
Right.
And honestly, I'm going to talk to Curtis Modkins, the running backs coach, about it after practice today. Does that potentially play into some fumbling problems he had last year?
I think it does for sure, because when you're spinning, when you get back to the point of attack of going forward, you have to gather yourself to see where you are. So as a defender, I'm waiting to see, okay, he's got to come back forward. He's not going to run backwards. So I'm going to see where this ball is, and then I'm going to knock it out right now because he's still trying to figure out his bearing. So,
and they get that on film.
Oh, for sure.
So, I mean, they'll see 3 spins in a game.
Right,
and
you
then
see the ball fling a little bit.
You're going to get Gabe Henderson, the safety, or Jay Ward, the hybrid, and you're going to be like, all right, I got this. I'm going to see that spin, and I'm not going to try to knock him down. I'm going to go helmet or shoulder pad right at that ball.
Right.
Yeah.
But if a guy, with him, if he sees the defender first, he's going to win that battle. So it's just more so as a defender, it's like, okay, he's never going to take a tackle on full throttle. He's never going to take this hit. He's going to absorb it, spin off of it, and then go forward. So just wait for him to spin, and he'll run right into you. So I'm just looking for this running back committee to see what they do in Seattle, because that is the running back room is one of the only position rooms in my opinion that you really can't get a grasp of during training camp.
Right.
Yeah, you have to run through tackles. They're thudding up a little bit, but you don't see jukes. You don't see broken tackles. You don't see that extra yard on 3rd and 1. So I'm really looking forward to see which running back sans Alexander Madison takes that next step in the preseason.
Well, Dwayne has some physical bowling ball to him.
Yeah.
He's going to pound on you because I just established this mindset when they re-signed Madison in knowing Dalvin Mosley was gone and having Eagles envy from week 2 with the running back share and fresh legs in the fourth quarter that Madison and 2 others, they're going to split reps. And, Alexander will get the lion's share, but I don't think it's going to be an 80%.
Right.
2 other people split 20. And I think that A is looking for fresh legs in the fourth quarter. McBride fits into this key because if you want to mash on and pound on and beat down defenses with a running game, well, McBride's a wonderful running back to do that with. And I ain't trying to paint him as slow. Here's what I'm getting at, because you've probably seen this highlight. I didn't see it until yesterday. 2020, when he was at UAB, he had a 77-yard touchdown run against Western Kentucky. He ran away from everybody. So I ain't trying to make this guy sound like he's defensive tackle slow, trying to run away from people. But I'm just, I'm very intrigued by Dwayne McBride.
Yeah, it will be a telltale all in Seattle this upcoming Thursday, simply because when you see Dwayne McBride at practice, right? Like, you see some of those traits in college that translates to the field out here in practice, but still his balance is a little bit off. He's still trying to catch his footing here in practice. You'll see linebackers getting under his pads, and maybe he is trying to take a rep off, I guess, a little bit lightly so he doesn't run over a defender or doesn't go too hard. I mean, every time you see a guy fall down, coaches are like, everybody up, stay up, stay up.
Yeah.
And Dwayne McBride is trying to do that. So now that it's full go, now that it's full contact, how does that translate? How does that college film translate to an NFL football field?
Well, and it's interesting too with this position battle because we'll focus on the cornerbacks, right? And can Caleb Evans or Mekhi Blackman snag one of these spots? Well, both of those guys.
Well, Blackman's the bomb.
He is,
absolutely.
But save for injury, those guys are on the team. What's interesting about this running back situation is a guy like McBride might be on the outside trying to find a ticket to the party. So then I transition now to Kene Nwanwu. And there is also an element on this team, and at some point maybe we'll talk about N'Keal Harry. We got Brandon Powell, Jalen Reagor. There's a punt return potential conversation that is part of that. But with the running back spot, finding value in a player means doing multiple things. And so now at this stage into year 3, I think even for Kene, he needs to show value in other aspects beyond just returning kicks.
Yeah.
And so
he's in a weird spot.
With McBride and with Nwanwu, neither have been prominent pass catchers in their college career.
Yep.
So how much does it matter? And we'll get to see a lot of these reps during preseason games. We'll get to see Chandler, but how much are we forcing the ball in the pass game to these guys? How versatile can they be, or how smart can they be as pass blockers? Mm-hmm. I put Nwanwu in the conversation in terms of I need to see what he has, just like I need to see from McBride.
Well, with Thursday, I don't expect Kene to play. Now Kene's not practicing right now.
Right.
I don't believe he is.
I think he's like nicked up, maybe.
Yeah, so he won't play Thursday, as I just would be willing to venture a guess. And off what Nordo says, it's a good point because Kene is one of the NFL's better kick returners. In a game, they're jacking with kick return rules, or they boom it out of the end zone. So he gets that crack on Thanksgiving against Belichick, and he does what he's supposed to do. But outside of that, it's fleeting. Mm-hmm. He's a gunner, and again, this is with all due respect, but I mean, he's just not noteworthy to me at this stage of his career as a gunner. I mean, he's good, but like Marcus Sherrills was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And, small and not the fastest in the world, but he just got it and how to do it. And so maybe that'll come with Kene, but off Nordo's point, I just don't know if that is enough to solidify a spot. But you go ahead and put that 4-2 out there.
Right.
It'll be sucked up in a second by somebody.
Yeah.
And who does not have a roster constructed like us.
Yep.
So that really is the chess match that makes this time of the year so fascinating.
Yeah,
That's a nice point right there.
I would bet that the Philadelphia Eagles would not be a team that would pick him up for kick return. I put any kind of money the Philadelphia Eagles won't return any kicks this year. That's just not what they do.
I'm tripping right now. So the new kick return stuff, what is it again?
So you can fair catch it at any point and get the ball at the 25-yard line.
That's what it is.
Matt Daniels, he's very aggressive, so we'll see what that looks like. But at the same time, Kene Nwangwu, he has to do something different. He has to add value. Is that a gunner, or is that one of the gunners on punt return? Can he do both?
Well, I want him to play in these preseason games,
right?
Because I want to see him catch a couple of swing passes. I don't need elaborate screens because I'd bet he doesn't get that at this stage. The nuance of waiting and setting it up. I mean, you ran bubble screens. You know what it's like to step up, then step back, catch it, and the art of seeing your dogs, catching it, waiting for your guys, and then taking off. But I just want to see him catch swing passes and make a guy miss.
Make a play.
Yeah.
That's what I was talking about. That's what you don't get in practice, and that's what we are looking for in the running back committee. Say what you want about Dalvin Cook, with this tackles for loss, but when it was one-on-one or if he had a lane, you knew he was going to make a play. So I'm wondering who's going to be that guy that makes up for that if Alexander Madison can't do that. We know we're getting Alexander Madison. He's always downhill. He's going to get you 100 yards if he has to. He's going to wear the defense down. But still, how do you make plays with the ball in your hand? So I'm excited. I'm excited to see what Thursday looks like.
All right, well, read into this. Might have a little Joanne Williams on Thursday.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me.
Okay, but last week, I'm here last week, and the majority of the walkthrough and practice, you got Joanne on one side, Byron Murphy on the other.
Yeah.
Then a Caleb Evans comes in. Murphy goes inside. Joanne stays in.
Yep.
Mekhi Blackman is surging up the charts of winning the hearts of the defensive coaches. That's just what I feel is happening right now.
Yeah, if you look at Mekhi, you don't think rookie. Like he has some size to him. Like he's a guy that's not just sticks and bones out there. I can't think Emmanuel Forbes.
Jay Ward.
Ward.
With all due respect, Jay Ward looks like to stick in the NFL and play the physical brand that he plays. He's going to have to put on some weight.
Agreed. And when you look at Mekhi Blackman, he's a guy that can throw his nose in there, and you can trust that he's going to get back up and make a play the next play. So
Jackie Chen, though.
Jawan Williams, to your point. Yeah, I want to see him play just simply because
Chen?
Jawan Williams.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Jawan Williams?
Jackie Chen.
Yeah.
Jawan Williams. I want to see what he can do. He's been injured the past few years.
Yep. Good point.
Is he available? Yeah, he's been a guy that when he was in, he made plays in New England, but this is a new team. This is a new coordinator. This is a new defense. We don't want you to play all 3 preseason games. We just want to see what you can do in the first one.
Yeah.
And if you impress us enough, we can start getting some of those younger guys in and start to see what they can do with their limited reps.
Doesn't this feel like one of those things, though, where however this gets hashed out, let's say Mekhi Blackman gets a starting spot. Sweet. Welcome to the starting 11. A couple of weeks go by. Joanne's pumping it up in practice. I mean, I just, at this stage, and we still have so many preseason games and reps and joint practices and things to go, but it's still so razor thin from a margin standpoint that Mekhi might be, he's on the team, but he's almost maybe starter in name only in some respects, where Joanne could get a chance. I mean, there's still, Byron Murphy's up here with 48 NFL games or whatever it is, starts under his belt. And then we got guys with about 65 freaking plays in the NFL combined.
Yeah.
And so whatever happens here in camp, I still almost kind of feel like
Hawkinson's practicing.
Yeah.
He's now participating in those sets. Yeah, he wasn't before, and now he is.
Yeah.
So maybe everything's fine with Hawkinson. Tragedy and trouble averted. That's good with 87.
Yeah.
But it still feels like, hey, a couple of bad games from the USC rookie. Let's slot Joanne in there. Or let's move a Caleb over here. It still feels so fluid, even as things start to shape out.
Big time.
That's why.
Damn, Brian Asamoah is fast.
In my opinion, the only DB or cornerback that does not play is Byron Murphy. I believe every other cornerback still has to prove themselves.
Really?
Joanne Williams is a guy, you can't teach his size. I mean, he's 6'2", 6'3", about 6'8" wingspan. So his big thing is just staying healthy. If you have 6'2" on one side and Caleb Evans, and then 6'3" on the other side, and Joanne Williams, and they both are staying healthy, that pretty much puts pressure on opposing offenses, simply because that perfect pass that Aaron Rodgers is throwing, Joanne Williams, 6'9" arms, even if he's beat by a yard, he's still making a play. So that makes our entire defense better. So I just want to see those guys stay healthy, but also make some plays starting with Thursday in Seattle.
Yeah, and Thursday, Asezi Otomowa, the second-year Gopher. Sadly, James Lynch goes down, but if you believe that there's going to be a significant rotation within the defensive linemen, and I believe we're in lockstep on that, Lynch was part of it.
Yeah.
And Otomowa was part of it too. But Asezi, he's so physically gifted and so athletic, and he's a lot bigger and stronger, you can just tell, this year compared to last year.
Yep.
It's a big opportunity in front of 90, ain't no doubt about that. But from his standpoint, he just needs to, the team needs him or somebody like that to jump up, deflect passes, get a couple of sacks, be disruptive, slow the run the best you can. This is low-key a big season for Asezi Otomowa.
In year 2 also. He can make a name for himself in the league immediately. He has the size. He has all the physical traits. He has the mental capability. It's just more so staying consistent. The reason why Kyrus Tonga is the starting nose tackle on the unofficial depth chart that released today on Vikings.com is simply because of his consistency. He says he's told me I think he could be all-pro, Pro Bowl nose tackle. It's just, can he do this every single play? So big year for him. I think he's going to step up to the challenge, but at the same time, you got to prove it on paper. You got to prove it on the field.
All right, say Jalen Reagor plays a ton on Thursday night.
Yep.
He's playing a lot of receiver. Brandon Powell. I'd bet Brandon plays, but I wouldn't bet a lot. So they probably each would get punt return opportunities.
Yeah.
The first official depth chart released, I saw it too. They have Reagor as the number 1 punt return guy. With all due respect, I don't believe that. I just don't. Brandon Powell's a better punt returner, and it's not even close. So I have no idea why they did that, but nevertheless they did. But if Reagor plays a lot in that game, and you're Jalen, it's kind of the Baker Mayfield syndrome. You no longer are one of the first 4 receivers taken in the greatest wide receiver draft in the history of the end. You're no longer that guy.
Yeah.
And you have to embrace who you are and what's in front of you and grab it, or else, or else it ain't going to work out,
And that's the reason why Kevin O'Connell brought Jalen Reagor in last year, is because it's look, we understand all this pressure is on you. You're in Philly. You're supposed to make all these big-time plays. Well, come in, be a regular guy here, do what you got to do, and don't make many mistakes. Yeah, he made a lot of mental errors last year, but this year we're starting to see a new Jalen Reagor. He's got a full offseason with the Purple. He's got an opportunity to work with Kirk for 2 years in a row. So maybe this is a rejuvenated Jalen Reagor, but I wouldn't be surprised if he played a lot of receiver on Thursday against Seattle.
With Jalen Reagor, now we hear about another former first-round pick that really has played himself into being just a guy, and that was a 2019 first-rounder in N'Keal Harry. What do you make of him joining the group? I know, whether it's Tristan Jackson, there have been a couple and Jalen Naylor still having trouble getting on the field. But the idea, now Harry in the mix, he's a guy that's also trying to resurrect his career. So there's a massive battle in that front to prove oneself.
N'Keal Harry's 85. I can't find him. He's probably not
he's
here.
28.
Oh, he's 28?
Yeah.
N'Keal Harry's 28?
Yeah, and I was just about to bring that up.
No, that's Jacob Copeland. Copeland's 28. Yeah, Harry's 85.
85?
Yeah, Copeland just got here, too. I saw him run a jet sweep, so he's going to play on Thursday.
I just saw number 20. I saw it on Twitter also. Somebody saying N'Keal Harry's wearing number 28. So,
Twitter's tripping with TJ Hawkinson.
Yeah.
Twitter's tripping with Jacob Copeland and N'Keal Harry.
Yep. N'Keal Harry, 6'4", 215, 225, big body.
Super strong.
Super strong. Honestly, if you put on 10 more pounds, 15 more pounds, you can move him to tight end and he can get the job done. So he has a prime opportunity right in front of him. Next man up mentality. Doesn't really know the plays, but just go out there one-on-ones. Hey, just check fade to me. I'm 6'4". I'm taller than all of our DBs. Let me go up and make a play. That's his calling card right now. It's just going out there and making plays and not making many mistakes, because people are already starting to write him off. If you look at his stats, only 700 yards in 4 years. First round drafted by the New England Patriots. So I'm not sure how much he plays on Thursday, but this is a really big opportunity for him. Yeah, he is wearing number 85 over there. I see him.
We pause. That's Gabe Henderson. I'm Paul Allen. We are at Twin Cities Orthopedics Performance Center. Minnesota Vikings walkthrough is coming to a conclusion. When we return, KJ the Cane joins us.